Thank you for staying with us. You're on Plain Speak. Air India has landed in controversy yet again. An Air India flight en route to Delhi was forced to circle back to Chicago, reportedly after all but one of the plane's toilets were rendered unusable. Here's what exactly happened. The decision to turn the flight around was taken after 11 of the 12 lavatories in the flight became inoperable, leaving access to only one toilet for more than 300 passengers who were on board for about 10 hours. The decision was taken around 4.5 hours into the flight when the plane was somewhere over Greenland. The return took about equal amount of time, resulting in that 10-hour ordeal for the passengers. The airline confirmed that the flight made a U-turn after being airborne for about 5 hours, but they claimed that the decision was due to a technical issue. Air India, in fact, then issued a detailed statement over the matter. The airline claimed that AI-126 returned due to a technical issue, but what their teams found were polythene bags, rags and clothes that were flushed down and stuck in the plumbing of the lavatories. Bags and rags led to the lavatories being inoperable, is what Air India has come out and said. The decision to return back to Chicago was taken in interest of passengers. They also said that accommodation was given to these passengers to minimize any inconvenience that was caused. Alternate travel arrangements were also made for some of them. Either a full refund or cancellation was provided because of this inconvenience as well. Air India then went on to say that complimentary rescheduling was also offered to passengers who wanted to use that, then highlighting that safety and the well-being of the passengers was topmost priority for the airline. But this is not the first time that Air India has been in the middle of a controversy. It was just 2 days ago that an 82-year-old landed in a hospital after she fell at the Indira Gandhi airport here in the national capital. The family alleged that the elderly woman suffered the fall after she had to walk towards the flight gate because she was denied a wheelchair by the airline. Air India, however, turned down the allegation and claimed that there was a delay in providing the wheelchair due to unprecedented rush and because the family with the 82-year-old did not make it in time at the gate, and at no point was the elderly denied a wheelchair. Now, just last month, Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan had expressed anguish that he experienced during his Air India flight from Bhopal to New Delhi. He said he had to travel on a broken seat. Chauhan said that he was under the impression that Air India's service would have improved following the erstwhile government-owned carrier's takeover by the Tata Group, but that turned out to be a misconception. The airline, however, was quick to issue an apology and ordered an immediate inquiry. Shortly after that, another BJP leader, Jaiveer Shergill, came down heavily on Air India over broken seats and poor service. He in fact tagged them the worst airline. The very same month, DMK MP had criticized Air India after her business class seat on a Delhi-Chennai flight was downgraded to economy without any notice. The Chennai South Member of Parliament expressed her outrage, calling the incident absolutely unacceptable, also raised concerns over passengers' rights. So as turbulence hits Air India, the question we want to ask is, what exactly is the solution for their woes? Let's open this up. Air Commodore B.S. Sivach, Director General of Aviation Safety, is with us. Aviation expert D.B.S. Gujral is with us as well. Air Commodore, let me begin by asking you, is this a one-off incident? Is this just a coincidence that so many incidents are coming to the fore as far as Air India is concerned just in the recent past?
Good evening. Thanks for inviting me. Now it is become kind of habit with Air India. Every second there is something or the other is taking place. Air India is almost every week in the news for wrong reasons. It is really shocking that such an illustrious airline has, the second largest airline in the country, and the oldest airline. But the way it is functioning, it is really sort of totally unacceptable, and it brings a bad name to the country, bad name to the airline, bad for the reputation, bad for their economic viability. And I can see that they might lose even the customers to a large extent because nobody like to travel by an airline which has got problems every second day. Something or the other is happening. Sometimes there are labor issues, sometimes there are unrest, sometimes crew does something wrong, regulatory issues, and sometimes toilet issues, sometimes seats are not functional, sometimes technical issues, the aircraft returns. And now in this present case for which we are discussing, it's really surprising. 10 hours after 10 hours the flight returned. What a shame. How can people do such a thing? How can the management be so careless about it? It's not really done because I'm given to understand that before the flight departed, the crew was aware that some of the toilets are blocked, but I suppose they ignored it. And subsequently, after 10 hours, it became, so difficult for the airline to continue the flight that it had to return. Just imagine the amount of colossal loss to the airline in terms of 10 hours flying must have costed them crores. And of course, refunding the passengers, hotel accommodation. And worst is that kind of reputation which has been ruined. So something definitely needs to be done on highest priority. DGCA and Ministry of Civil Aviation has been at it. The airline has been fined a couple of times, even more than crore.
Right.
But still, they haven't really improved. Some serious problems are, existing with the airline. And sooner they do something, better it will be for them. Otherwise, we are going to be, losing this airline very badly. So that
Mr.
is the
Right. Mr. Gujral, let me get you in as well. Air India has released some of these pictures along with that statement in which you can see clothes and rags. They say polythene bags were stuffed down the lavatories, which is what ended up clogging them. But if 11 out of 12 lavatories were clogged, and if there indeed was clothes and rags and polythenes that were flushed in, is that not also a security concern?
No, thank you very much for asking me also to join this debate. I would like to point out that the toilets in the aircraft, they work on suction system. It is quite possible that some of the passengers do not know how to use these toilets, and they put some kind of a material in the toilets which is sucked in, such as diapers or pieces of cloth as they have come out, and there is a common waste line, and in the event of one toilet getting blocked, it blocks the whole line. And as the aircraft continues, it became a very, very big problem. So there was no choice with the aircraft but to return back to Chicago, where the servicing facilities were available. And at the same time, uh, it took about 5 hours to return. The aircraft was over Iceland at that time when it became very necessary to return back. And it was a very wise decision on the part of the commander to return back to Chicago, since we had the facilities of servicing available only at Chicago. Had he landed somewhere on the way, it might have been very difficult, if not impossible, to get the facilities to flush out the toilets. As far as the servicing of the aircraft at the major bases is concerned, whenever an aircraft reaches a base, the entire toilet system is flushed out, cleaned, and sometimes it happens that the passengers who are perhaps not aware of the consequences of their inept use of toilets by sending in the materials which should not be used in the toilets. In my opinion, this incident occurred only because perhaps some of the passengers they have used the inusable material in the toilets, which was sucked into the waste line.
Sure.
And the waste line for all the toilets is common. A waste line for all the toilets is common.
Sure.
And once blocked, there is very little that can be done in the air. So it was a very wise decision to get back to Chicago and have the line
Sure.
flushed.
So, Mr.
And
Gujral,
have
then
the
in this
aircraft
particular
cleaned.
instance,
So,
maybe it was not the airline's fault completely. Of course, there's outrage over how it was handled, and there can be two views about it. But why is it that these kind of complaints, leaving aside this particular incident, we've heard several others in the recent past. Why is it that we hear so many complaints, so many issues with Air India particularly than any other airline?
No, sir. Being our national airline, right? It is any small incident which occurs along for Air India. It is highlighted more than necessary, which I feel personally. Being associated with this industry, I have been noticing various complaints about people, about the aircraft, about the difficulties passengers face. Aviation is a very transition stage. It is expanding leaps and bounds. There are bound to be small incidents here and there, which I think we should try to ignore and understand the problems of the airline as well as the regulatory authorities.
But the issue also here is that from once being the national carrier, government run, it was then privatized, Air Commodore Savage. That's something that's being highlighted as well, that people thought that a lot of improvements will come in once it was privatized. But that's something that seems to have left a lot of loyal Air India customers disappointed. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely. Air India
No, I would like to say
Air Commodore Savage.
poor work culture, very poor work culture before it was taken over. When Tata took over this airline, it was really in shambles. The amount of loss it was incurring, the work ethics of the organization. I'm not saying that 100%. There are very good people also in Air India. But largely you find that, it has been clearly displayed. It has been shown to everybody that they're lacking badly. That's why they ran into such massive losses. Poor management, poor work ethics, work culture. And when Tata took over, it was in shambles. Tata has been trying to improve upon this airline. They had taken a lot of bold and innovative steps, but still the kind of workforce they have, they are still not really very, the work culture definitely is not good. And that shows. Earlier also it used to be always in the news for wrong reasons, and now also every second day you can't say that. We would like to definitely protect. This is a very prestigious airline of our country. But how far can you? It is making headlines all over the world. So how can you try to sort of protect it, hide something from anybody? And definitely need to really pull their socks up, because if it continues, then this is very bad news for the airline and its management and for the country as a whole. This is the second biggest airline. They ordered large number of aircraft in future. They are working at it, but still the work, may not be, the management is not able to manage things in a very orderly fashion, very professional manner. And
both the Air India and the regulatory body, the DGCA, also has been working towards making this a more pleasant experience than what it has been. But unfortunately, these complaints keep coming up. I have to leave it there. I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this edition on the show and sharing your perspective.